Hey everybody, and this is JTrain997, and I'm here with Tyler Green, who does not have a cool YouTube moniker, such as myself. And we just got out of the 720 showing of G.I. Joe Retaliation. This movie was all over the place with its early shows. Some places got it yesterday. Actually, my hometown did, but I'm in college, so I did not feel like making that drive back. Now,
what did you think of it?
Personally, there's going to be spoilers in this review. If you want a quick non-spoiler review, I like it. It jumped around a little much, and you need to turn the camera off. Go watch one of my other videos. Give me some AdSense money. You know absolutely nothing about Joe. I think that's important. And you did not see the first movie.
I did not see the first one, mainly because of Channing Tatum. I have a really burning hatred for Channing Tatum, but I'm completely ignorant to G.I. Joe, and I hate that about myself. But I think if I'm starting to hang around you a lot more, I really need to be learned.
Yeah, I will teach you, young Padawan. I actually really like this movie. Now, when I first saw G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra back in, God, when did that come out? 2010?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think I said when I came to the minute, I'm like, it was a 7 out of 10. It was fun. I don't like it too much, but, I had a good time watching it for the most part. It's a movie that's decreased for me, like with repeat watchings. I like it a little less every time. This was a solid improvement. It felt like G.I. Joe. It didn't feel like they were tacking on unnecessary things. But in that, I think that's where one of my big complaints come from, is that one thing about this movie is that it feels like it just jumps around. Like it never gives you a chance to rest. Something is always happening. Something's always going.
I really noticed that. You're like, okay. And then they're like maybe 2-3 minutes of just it calming down, and all of a sudden, explosion.
It's like, where's Snake Eyes? There's Snake Eyes. Okay, there he is again. There's Storm Shadow. Where's Storm Shadow? Ninja fight.
Cobra.
Yeah. And I feel like the movie suffers a little bit from that, because it's like, okay, here's Joe Colton. There's like, okay, we're going to do this for Joe Colton. Where is he? And until he's important again, they don't mention him.
Yeah, that's right.
But,
I noticed that.
I don't know, and I feel like the movie, because I heard a lot of people, like, reviews I watched early talk about, like, there's so many characters that are good in this that don't get any, like, real explanation. And Jinx is the only one I agree on. Jinx is pretty much just there.
Yeah, they just threw her in there.
Yeah, like, literally all of her parts, with the exception of the fights being a little harder for Snake Eyes, they wouldn't really change. I don't think she even talks that much in the movie. I mean, she talks more to Snake Eyes. But, yeah, I think, maybe, because the movie's like an hour, it's just under 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like right at it, because it started at 7:20 and it's 9:21 now.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't mind sitting there for 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and a little change, just get a little more of those characters in there, but...
Just as long, their Kung Fu master isn't in it, in those scenes.
Yeah, the RZA, I think he's Wu-Tang Clan, I don't know. God, isn't that what IGN said they hated? The one thing they hated?
That's probably what knocked it down a good bit, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. Every time he spoke, I just cringed.
Well, they try to make him look old, and I mean, obviously he's an older guy, but he's not gray-haired ninja Zen master. I bet frickin' Ray Park is older than him. And he was like, Snake Eyes, you are wrong for mistreating Jinx and not trusting her. I'm like, why does he not trust Jinx? And why do you sound like that?
I know, it could have easily been just like Samuel L. Jackson or somebody, if they were going
to they're going to go that route. Why not? I mean, honestly. But that's really my big gripe with the movies. It feels like it jumps around. And, I mean, even with the big characters like Cobra Commander, who I love what they did with Cobra Commander in this.
He was, every time, he just stole the show every time he was on screen. Just every single time, I'm just like, I want to be him. Oh, yeah. Just like, I just want to cosplay as him all day long, just like go through McDonald's and just, but I love his voice, but I really wish that it would have been like the, just crazy campaign voice, like from all those
G4
campaign
videos.
Yeah, those G4 videos.
Which, supposedly the guy that does his voice did Retaliation, which was you don't know this, but it was a short cartoon series Cartoon Network did online. Then they put the whole thing together in a video, watch that if you haven't. Retaliation, I mean, Resolute, I don't know if I've been saying Retaliation. Resolute's fantastic. Supposedly same voice actor, but he sounds nothing alike. I mean, he's got this big, booming, deep, threatening voice. But you don't see him a lot, and I said spoilers. You don't even see him, like, there's no final conversation. He's just like on the hook, like, see ya?
Oh, Cobra?
And you don't get like a, I'm coming back or anything. You just get he's out there somewhere, but we don't know where.
Go get him. It's like Carmen Sandiego. Where is she? We don't know.
And I love this because I never put this together. Because at one point in the movie, they're like, yeah, we're going to meet at Fort Sumter. And I'm like, the one in South Carolina? The one I've been to?
I know.
Yeah, the finale is in South Carolina with us. I love that.
I know, could you just imagine what I was thinking? Just like go and want to tour Charleston and you go to Fort Sumter and you just see Cobra just walking around.
I've been in Fort Sumter before, and now we're going back in Cobra uniforms, and I'm going to take a picture in front of that fucking fort in my Cobra uniform just standing there. Thank you, Retaliation, for giving me that opportunity.
God, that would be great.
Yeah, but like Firefly was hands down my favorite thing about this movie. I loved him. Now, this is an interesting thing, which you don't know. I read online that Firefly in this movie was supposed to be ex-G.I. Joe, and there was that hatred between him and Roadblock. And if you in that first fight, they lock eyes for a second, and
like
they hold
knew
it.
each other.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we got a lot cut out with that. That's a shame because Firefly ain't coming back. I mean, he goes out great. I mean, I think I think he's done well. I wish there would have been more, but I can say that about pretty much every character in this movie.
Yeah, I would have really liked to have seen more of him. I hate that he's gone now.
Yeah, but and that's another important aspect. Number one, we saw it in 3D. Number two, the 3D was off. Just a little bit. It gave me a headache. You had to complain about it.
I had to complain about it a few times.
When you complained, they did this little wrap-up, and it actually showed really well, because everyone's like, well, how much are they going to show from Rise of Cobra, because the director, John Chu, really hated it. Mm-hmm. We saw Cobra Commander in a straight-up mask. We saw Destro in his Rise of Cobra mask, which looked horrible. You haven't seen it. It was like clear plastic with these little vacuum tubes. The one they had in this was great.
That was when I left the theater?
Yeah.
Okay.
For a half a second, I'm pretty sure I saw Major Blood, like, who is another random Cobra villain, like, swing by the screen. I'm like, I think that was Major Blood. You can't stop it and rewind it. But yeah, they actually really handled well, because they called it the Nanomite Wars, which I had to explain to you what Nanomites are. And just, okay, as your opinion, if you had come in knowing nothing about Joe, without me to sit there and explain stuff to you, having not seen the first movie, would you have felt a little lost?
I'd felt very lost, actually. Like, just some stuff I'd be like, okay, I definitely wouldn't have enjoyed it as more. I'd be like, what are these, who are these crazy people? Why are there ninjas running around? Like, it was really weird. But knowing it was like comic book, TV shows, little action figures, all that stuff, I mean, that's what made it really good. But if I didn't know anything about it, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it nearly as much. But just knowing the idea of who they are, how much people love this franchise and stuff, that's what makes it really cool. But yeah, definitely, if you know nothing about it, it would have gone way over.
That's what I'm a little worried about. 'Cause 720, and I'm taking into account there's been a lot of early shows. There's been all kinds of stuff, and this is not a midnight show. Mm-hmm. There was probably 5 people in that theater counting us.
Yeah,
maybe 7. God, I hope this movie doesn't tank, because this was a good movie. This was what a G.I. Joe movie should be. Could I have wanted more? Yeah, but I mean, every movie isn't going to be, knock it out of the park, but this came really close. So, G.I. Joe fans need to go support this #1. And that's really the thing. The complaints I have with this movie are small, and I think they're things that can be solved in a sequel. Now, you had the comment about, like, right at the end where, like, oh, they're killing off all the bad guys.
Right.
But, you not knowing Joe, there's a whole roster of new bad guys they could bring in. I mean, personally, I wish Firefly made it to a sequel, especially with that whole ex-Joe thing going, but I guess we got to hope for a director's cut on that one.
Yeah, at least give it some more, because they didn't kill him off. They could have brought that into the next one, but oh well.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really, really wanted to say.
I mean, was it, in your opinion, was it worth it for the wait for 3D?
See, the 3D was off, so I feel guilty saying that. The only time it really got bad was the real fights that were just going bam, bam, like you had to follow them really quick.
Yeah, I have the same complaint about when I went to go see The Hobbit. I saw it in 48 frames and 3D, and they used too much shaky cam, and just the real fight scenes, like close up, it's the same as it is in Joe. With it being 3D, it's really hard to just pick apart like what's all happening. Like, I highly doubt it would be as hard to see the fight scenes if it was in 2D. And then ours was off a little bit. Like, if stuff was like really close or like flags in the background, you could see the double, like some ghosting there. But I don't know, some of the fight scenes and stuff were really cool, like the mountainside battle.
Oh, yeah.
That was really cool. It was a lot of the good 3D came when stuff was actually falling out at your face. But other than that, that's about it.
Because, I mean, that's all they really said they did was all we did was go back and touch stuff up. Why you need a year for that, I don't know, because I just want you to know if it hadn't been for the pushback, this movie would be on DVD by now. Its DVD release date originally was like September of last year. Yeah. So it would be on like the cheaper racks by now.
And they didn't add any new footage to this?
No, they shot new stuff.
Oh, okay.
And there's some, you can tell, like there's some stuff shot specifically for 3D. And I feel guilty because I'm like, I'm not the 3D guy. Mm-hmm. The only movie I have ever been to see in 3D that I thought legitimately was helped by 3D was Bloody Valentine, which I still say we got to get that 3D edition. Yeah. But, you know, was it worth the wait? I don't think so. I mean, I could have seen this movie 2D and been happy. Maybe somebody out there will love the 3D. It doesn't take away from the movie. There are some things that look really, really cool, but...
Yeah, it's very certain movies. Like, you know, I'm the 3D guy. I have 3D movies. I watch them a lot. But it has to be a certain film, like in 3D. And this one, I would much rather buy the 2D over the 3D just because it didn't add anything.
It's like with Great Gatsby coming out. Why is that movie 3D?
I don't know. Like, like regular movies like that, I would not buy for 3D because I bought Prometheus. That one is awesome. It's like you're you're looking in a window, and like it's mainly all the sci-fi stuff. That's better for 3D. But like all these action movies and stuff, like Great Gatsby, it doesn't need 3D.
Yeah, I mean it's just. It's just like I will never see like a I mean, I don't see a whole lot of romance movie, but why would you want to go see that in 3D? Isn't The Host in 3D?
God, I hope not. I'm not paying that much money for it because I gotta go see it.
Yeah, I don't care about seeing it, but I don't know the story. But from what I can tell, it's just another one of those. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of action, but there's most of it's watching two people stare half-heartedly as that book makes money.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna say, but yeah, I don't think especially you saying it. They delayed this movie a year. I don't think it should have taken that long, and I don't think it's worth it. Especially you being such a big fan, I don't think it was. And
it's not like it was right at it. It was the toys are on the shelf, the commercials are on the TV. Oh, Battleship sucked? Well, I guess we better push the movie back.
I don't know.
Overall, I would have much rather the movie have come out on time.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really good. In my opinion, I thought it was really good. I mean, I'd go see it again. It was pretty good.
Oh, here's an interesting thing. If you're wondering how many of the Joes get killed off in the beginning, it really was all of them. I mean, they even introduced Mouse, who's a character I know you know nothing about Joe. Mouse is from this really random incarnation of G.I. Joe, which is my personal favorite because it was my introduction. Sergeant Savage and his Screaming Eagles. He gets like 2 lines of dialogue, and they kill him off, but they take the time to introduce you to him and make you care about him, and they're like, bam. I mean, Duke I understood because they're like, okay, you got to know Duke was from the first movie. They want that connection. So it hurts a little when they kill him.
I was happy to pay, how much did we pay? Like $7-8 just to watch Channing Tatum die.
$7-8 for the movie and then like $12 for popcorn and drink.
That was your fault.
Yeah, that was my fault. Why did they trick me into that every time? Slurpee would have been way to go. God, we're rambling. I loved it. It could have been better. There, a little bit more closure, a little bit more time with the characters. But these are all like nitpicky things. It would have made the movie flow a lot better, but this is still the G.I. Joe movie I want. His tanks, which you don't.
Yeah.
There's so many.
I remember you talking about it. I know what it is.
There's so many great things in this movie where I'm like, oh, that's a toy. Oh, that's the Ninja 4x4. You can get that on the shelf right now. Oh, his tank. It doesn't look exactly right, but because with the first movie, kids I don't think really got the whole toy vibe. With this, there's a more bit of an action theme. And there's things in there where you can go to the toy store and pick that up off the shelf.
It's like the Avengers. It felt like what it was coming from, like that world.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Avengers are like, oh, this is such a comic book. And then with this, you're like, oh, okay.
One more really random complaint. The first movie, and I fought people on this when it happened, Snake Eyes kind of kills Storm Shadow. And I'm like, he's not, because he like cuts him up and he drops him into freezing cold water in the Arctic. And I'm like, well, he signed on for more movies. They're not going to kill off their biggest ninja like that. Not when you didn't see like a kill stroke.
It's in the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in this one, he's just there. There's no like where he came from, how he healed. He's just like, he's there.
Just hello.
So these are again nitpicky complaints. how they blow up the nukes, and I was thinking it, then you said it because he's like, boom, and I'm like, oh, that one blew up. That's because the rod was about to launch. And then it's like, bam, bam, all of them blow up. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
every single one blew up. He just pressed a button.
and I'm thinking that's convenient. You're like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah, it's just like, threat terminated.
It's like, couldn't Cobra Commander have, like, put that to his voice imprint or something? Is crazy. La, la, la.
Cobra, la, 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 la.
I know that warden was somebody famous. I think that warden plays on a show called Justified. I want to say that's him.
He looked really familiar. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but overall, I loved it. Go see it. I'm going to see it again in a better, because our college theater is shit.
Yeah. The 3D was off the same. The last movie I saw was Amazing Spider-Man.
Wreck-It Ralph, same thing.
Yeah, they said they tried their best. They got as good as they could, and it was still really crap.
I mean, it wasn't that bad during. Now I have like a little bit of a headache after. But yeah, J-Train 997, I loved it. Go see it. Could it have been better? Yes, but this is still the G.I. Joe movie I want. And if I was going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say a solid 8, 8.5. I feel like I rated Rise of Cobra way too high when I did it. But what about you? I don't do number ratings.
Yeah, I think 8. It would be good, 8.5. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's a really enjoyable movie. Like, I'm not a fan of The Rock or Dwayne Johnson, whatever, but he was really convincing in this one.
Yeah. You know, and it's like I said, more time with character. Like Jinx, you could have taken Jinx out. I don't need to see her. Oh, and this is random, and this is another spoiler. Operation Trojan Horse, where they're like, they want to know what Cobra Commander is up to. Yet Storm Shadow just goes straight back to Cobra Commander. No, oh, you've been on a mountain healing. We know Snake Eyes was there. We know Snake Eyes took you.
He's just on a fan boat.
Because the Red Ninjas are with Cobra Commander, so we know they know. No decline, know what happened. Do you know where Snake Eyes is? Do you know where the Joes are? How did you get away? And who is this random girl who, okay, she's in a different outfit, but we know there was a girl ninja fighting with Snake Eyes. You know, little things like that. I'm like, the more I think about it, I'm like, why did he just get to be back with Cobra that quick?
I mean, you just see them they're all on a fan boat going to Fort Sumter.
I still love that. So we're rambling, but I think the point's been made. I still stand by about an 8 out of 10 rating. And this is J-Train 997 with Tyler Green, who you'll probably be seeing a lot more of during our course of midnight movies. Iron Man 3, Star Trek,
Man of Steel.
Are
we doing an Evil Dead?
If there's a Midnight Evil Dead, we will do an Evil Dead. We forgot to ask. But I'll see you guys soon.
See ya.
Later, YouTube.